Hello, everybody, and welcome to Gear Wire, our show about all things gear. And I'm your host, Justin.
I'm Luis.
I'm Miles.
And we have a pretty great show today. These two fellas here interviewed one of our fellow employees, Paco, on the Allen and Heath SQ-5 digital mixer and his experience using it for a bunch of really awesome gigs. So stay tuned later in the episode to check out that interview. But in the meantime, let's do our tradition, guys, and check out the comments from the last video that we shot.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it.
All right, let's see here. So we got Randy Heath, 8566, said, nice jam, great sounding axe. I need one. And he's referring to that PRS with that jam you did with our friend Alex Chadwick.
Yeah. Great guy, great guitar player. That's our last episode. Check that out, guys. It was a cool jam.
Yeah. Then we got a great name here, Geargasms. Said, nice jam as well. So people were digging your jam, man. Good job.
Nice username. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see. We got Maya Kitar said, Art of Pizza. So we got another Art of Pizza fan out there.
Okay,
I'm a fan too.
Solid place. You see there in college all the time.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
It's a great place.
Love it. And then we got Adam Price 3466 asked, when y'all gonna get some Yamaha red labels on zZounds?
I wasn't familiar with what those were before this episode, but do you guys remember what that was? The Yamaha
acoustic,
red label?
like it's a higher end acoustic, right?
Folk acoustic guitar.
Okay,
gotcha. No, we don't have that yet, but maybe we will later. So check back on the zZounds stock later and see what's up. I'm honestly shocked that we didn't have more like pizza wars in the comments.
Yeah, for real.
True, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I love me some pizza, man. So I won't even get started. I'm just say though, I still love Art of Pizza, but Pequods after our interview with Alex, I went back again.
Did you?
And for the second time, I just feel like they're getting more and more dough.
Yeah, I know. I did too.
Okay.
I went to the Morton Grove location days before we filmed the last time. So when he brought it up, I was like, I was just there.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way.
Yeah.
Really good, but like blood sugar through the roof.
Had it for the first time last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was good. I don't have
week.
a frame of reference to say how much the dough is like.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, 11 out of 10. Solid.
The
Solid.
crust. So good though, right?
Caramelized crust.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Turn the cameras off. All right, we have a pretty cool giveaway. This one's for a PreSonus kind of production suite. So, Luis, what's in the package that people can get?
Yeah, so we teamed up with PreSonus for the production studio package. It includes a Quantum ES4 interface, the Atom USB MIDI pad controller, the Iris 5 studio monitors, and the Fader Port 8. So you get all that all in one to get your dream studio going.
That's pretty solid all around, especially for somebody that doesn't have those things.
Definitely.
How many channels are on the interface?
Four.
Four
it's a
channels?
4x4.
Cool. Okay, that's pretty
Solid.
sick then. Yeah, I know. That's solid. So please do check out zZounds.com/giveaway, and you can see that PreSonus production suite, and you might be a lucky winner then. So please go check that out. So anyways, let's go pop over to that interview that you guys filmed with Paco. I was sadly not there. I got into a car accident the day we were filming.
Yeah.
A woman blew a red light, kind of like T-boned her, but fortunately going slow, and I'm all right. But I was not there, but check out that interview with Paco and you guys. And yeah, let's cut to that, and we'll be back after that.
Hey guys, so we're here with Paco, who works at zZounds, and Paco does some production and live sound. So we're going to talk about a little bit of your background, and then we'll get into this sick console here. So
Cool.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about just your musical background, how you got into it, and what you currently do.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for having me, for sure.
Thanks for being here.
I think in terms of my introduction to music, I played in bands since I was 13, 14 years old. Started off with keyboards, not classically trained whatsoever. It was more so of like kind of like Marilyn Manson Ministry, trying to do sound effects and stuff like that on the keyboards. And as I grew my inventory, so keyboards, and got a synth, a microKORG, which was I think almost everybody's first synthesizer. Yeah, microKORG, and then getting a drum machine. I had to like put that stuff together to get one output, and that's how I learned I had to get a mixer. So I was like 15, 16, and bought a Behringer mixer and an SM58 off a friend for $60, which was a great deal.
Yeah. Nice.
58s are $100, and that mixer was probably around the same price. And so I kind of navigated my way through this mixer, trying to connecting my stuff, and 3-band EQ, very, very basic, sending monitor mixes and stuff like that. At the same time, my older brother Renee, he was in Curie High School, and he was learning how to do recording. So he bought himself a Tascam DPO2 CD, which was an 8-track hard disk recorder. Mm-hmm. It was like a 40 gig hard drive, and this is like 2004, 2005. And back in those days, 40 gigs was like a lot. It had the CD burner in it too. But with that, him and I, you know, classic story, did the studio in your mom's basement type of stuff, and we were recording all the bands in the neighborhood because back in those days, you know, recording wasn't really accessible as it is today. Back then, it was still relatively expensive to get gear, and you know, a lot of the bands just couldn't afford it. So we were doing that, and doing that, I was still in high school, and I decided to, you know, I really liked the audio side of things more than playing in my band. So it was just doing the whole audio stuff, and found out that there was a school that offered that, Columbia College. So
Oh yeah, I went there too.
yeah. There you go. Yeah.
Nice.
I went there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is like 2006, like when I graduated and decided to go there, got accepted, and went into audio design and production as a major. So like recording stuff, and the pivotal point from that experience, on my first day of recording one, my instructor walked in and blatantly said, "None of you are going to get a job at a studio. They're all closing. The Pro Tools revolution is taking over. Do live sound, because live sound is never going to stop." And after that day, the next day, I changed my major to live sound reinforcement. And destiny has its way of like kind of, sometimes it's just so blatantly, you know, so blatant. And yeah, that's exactly what happened. And then started doing live sound at the school, and at the same time started working at Sam Ash. So not only was I learning about, you know, in depth about audio, I was also building audio systems for customers, because I was in the live sound department.
Yeah.
And you know, it's from the console to the racks to the cabling to the amplifiers to the speakers, what kind of coverage. And you know, I'm like learning this stuff from school and then applying it in real time. And in terms of actually being an engineer, a lot of these bands that I would sell systems to would ask like, "Hey, thank you for this, but can you come to our practice spot and set it up for us?" And there's this guy that we know that wants to learn, and you know, I would do that. Or, "Hey, we have this gig. Can you help us set this system up at this gig and run the sound?" And that's exactly kind of how that started. So I would build systems and then go run them and essentially teach people how to use the system, or the band specifically. And that kind of snowballed into joining a sound company right out of Sam Ash, and went through my boot camp, as it were, because that's when I decided to do it full time. So I quit Sam Ash, not really having a plan, but like knowing that this is what I wanted to do, live sound, because I was already getting really, really deep in it, and you know, leaving the safety net of a steady paycheck and joining this sound company. And through this sound company, Total Rentals, shout out Ruben Perales, I was thrown into the world of live sound like right away, as a monitor engineer, which is what I primarily am, is a A2 monitor engineer. And was thrown in, and I'm doing shows for like Juicy J at the UIC Pavilion, and doing rodeos at the Allstate Arena, and you know, working with all the Mexican national regional bands, like all the norteño stuff, banda, and you know, like very, very famous bands.
Yep.
And just thrown in right away. And then through that company, I was able to work bigger gigs, like a lot of Spanish rock, Spanish indie, work with bands like Porter, did production for Molotov, did production for Rido Fest, that had Café Tacuba, and like this was like big stuff that I was, you know, thankfully exposed to at early on. And left that company a little bit before the pandemic and started doing the whole venue work. So I currently work at Subterranean, Beat Kitchen, Talia Hall, Bottom Lounge. I've done stuff at Metro. I've done stuff at Concord and stuff like that. Joe's on Weed. So yeah, it's kind of snowballed into that, and recently did Wicker Park Fest, which is a big festival in the Wicker Park neighborhood here in Chicago, and it's been extremely fun, extremely stressful at the same time. But I feel like I've kept a good character and kind of in working that. So yeah, it's been a long 13 years.
That's cool.
Of doing live sound. I've been involved in audio for about 18 years, but live sound specifically was about 13 years.
Very cool.
Till today, yeah.
And you recently did stuff with Hannibal Buress too, is that right?
Yeah, so I got hooked up with Hannibal Buress in 2022, I believe. I just got the call of a friend of a friend hit me up. They got my number from another band that I had worked with, and they just asked, hey, he was doing the Silver Room block party in, I forgot which beach in Chicago, but he was going to do a set there, and I didn't know he did music. So he does. He goes by Ishu.
He raps,
I didn't know
right?
that either.
Yeah. He goes by
Cool.
Ishu Tune. So yeah, he raps, but he likes to do it with a live band. So a drummer, bass player. Sometimes he does a guitarist, a keyboard player. He'll have a DJ that does like the bass tracks. He does horns, backup singers, like kind of like the whole nine. And I got this call, and they said, "Hey, Hannibal Buress is looking for an engineer to help them with in-ear mixes and to mix the show. This is the rate that they're offering, but it's 2 days of rehearsal, and the rehearsal starts in an hour. So you need to."
Wow.
Yeah, it was one of those of like, can you do it? And I said, yeah. So showed up, met him, very, very nice dude, met the band, talked in terms of what they needed in terms of production, their technical specifications and stuff like that. Did the show, went very well, and just stayed in contact. Then the following year in 2023, I got the text from his personal assistant that they were going to go on tour, and if I was interested, and did the tour. And the last day of that tour, it was about 11 dates, and the last day of that tour was at Riot Fest. So
Nice.
yeah, so
Very
that
cool.
was extremely stressful.
I can only imagine. Yeah, I feel like, as musicians, when we're like doing our things as kids, like learning how to play whatever instrument or learning about live sound or whatever it is,
Yeah.
we always dream about getting that call like, so and so needs you now.
Yeah.
Can you do it? And
Yeah.
that's so cool that you had that moment where it was like, yeah, can you do this now? So that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've been thrown in the hot seat, as it were, a few times, but that one specifically was really cool. I got to learn a lot in terms of, because I had done some touring prior to that tour, but it was with the sound company that
Right.
I was with. So I was traveling with the sound company with the gear. So the gear was the same every day in every venue. The backline was the same in every venue. But this one was, I'm just taking myself, and I have to, work with what's there. The only thing I did take was an in-ear rig that they requested. So I had it, and that's the only thing. Yeah, they flew me out to Raleigh the first day, and from there straight to rehearsal. Did rehearsal for about 5 hours there, and then from rehearsal straight to the first gig, which was at Hopscotch Music Festival, at like a 7 p.m. slot or something like that, and then showing up and literally doing the gig. And one thing about Hannibal is that everything is not necessarily last minute, but it's very up in the air. You don't know when and what's going to happen. So because most of the dates were booked, but not all of them. So he would book them a day or two prior, and he would sell tickets. He would sell tickets. And and the run of show was he would do comedy for an hour, and then he had a joke that led into the music, because he does serious songs, but he does joke songs too. So he had a joke that would go into the music. So it was comedy and then music for an hour. And during my time at the sound company, I learned to work fast.
Yeah.
So, which is the big thing in live sound. You need to adapt and work fast. And when you're with a band, you already know the production needs for the band.
Right.
So you are on autopilot as soon as you show up. You know, you obviously advance, because I was also the monitor engineer, but I was also the assistant production manager. So I was the one advancing our writer to the venues. So they knew what we were bringing, they knew what we needed, and they send a tech pack, which is essentially what the venue has in terms of equipment. How many microphones, which ones, which console, how it's wired, the whole nine, basically how it's set up, how big the stage is. And yeah, you just, with that information, you just work fast. You just show up and do the thing.
Very cool, very cool. And then you mentioned you did Wicker Park Fest, right?
Yes,
And
recently, yes.
is that where you used this mixer right here?
Yeah, so that's where this beautiful Allen and Heath SQ-5 comes into play. This was provided to me by Allen and Heath. You know, I have a good relationship with them. This is the second console that they sent me. The first one was an SQ-6, and that was to use with Hannibal Buress. He did a Chicago theater show last November in 2023, and I had asked them for a console, whether we can use one for the needs. And yeah, they were nice enough to send me an SQ-6, and it was my second time using it. The first time was at the Hopscotch Music Festival, and I already had my eye on it in terms of a digital console to personally own. I had my eye on it already, and it was cool that I was able to use it. And it was very easy to use, extremely fast, very responsive, extremely intuitive. So, everybody has their style in terms of how you do live sound, how you format the console. And this console has really good custom layers that you can set up. You can make it work for you. You're not bound to, this is how it works. So this is kind of how you have to use it. And this thing honestly is great. And use this for Wicker Park Fest, which is, in a festival situation, it's one thing with a band. So this was my first time using this in a festival situation.
Oh, okay.
So it's a band every hour on the hour, and they have their individual unique production technical needs. And this console was able to handle all that stuff in 15 to 30 minute changeovers. 30 minutes sounds like a lot, but it's not.
Yeah.
In the live sound world, it's not.
Right.
That's like, the band within that time, the previous band is coming off, and then the new band's coming on, and they throw, we have an in-ear, and we have this playback system, and you're trying to hook that stuff up in a very, very small window of time.
Definitely. And then this mixer here, what are some of the specific features on this mixer here? Just some sell points on it. For someone who hasn't worked with Allen and Heath or seen the SQ-5, what is this feature?
Well, if you're familiar with digital consoles, you're going to feel right at home with this one. Something that I was used to is like the Behringer X32 minus M32. That's like a standard right now, because while on tour, that's all we encountered was M32s. And even at the venues that I work at, that's pretty much what's there. But this one specifically that I really, really liked, that a lot of consoles within the same price range don't have, is that this one specifically has a touchscreen. So you can,
cool.
You can move the EQ around.
Yeah, it's got a graphic EQ on there.
Oh yeah, parametric, 4-band parametric per channel.
Okay.
Graphic per output. So that's really cool, which makes it really fast, because if you're seeing or hearing a frequency that's taken off, instead of finding where the channel strip is, you can just literally touch it and
drag it down.
notch it down. Yeah, exactly.
How many channels are on it?
So the architecture of this console can do 48 inputs.
Okay.
There's only 16 on the back, but with the nice stage box here.
I didn't even know we had that back there. Cool.
Oh yeah, I was hiding it. With this beautiful DX168, you can expand the inputs.
Okay.
So in terms of Wicker Park Fest, I did 16 local, which is what's on the back. There's 12 outputs on the back. And then this allowed me to do 16 more
Wow.
So I was at 32 inputs. But what's cool about this is that if you get another one of these, you can cascade them.
Oh, wow.
So you can get another 16 inputs.
Wow.
So if you can reach the whole 48 channel count, which is really cool, because a lot of consoles within this price range don't only offer 32. So if you're in a need to do more than that, you're kind of stuck. So for this festival, 32 was enough, but it's such a small form factor. This can accommodate so much. And another thing that I like about this console is that it's really light. This in the flight case is only 48 pounds.
Wow.
So you can fly it anywhere.
Yeah.
And I see this console a lot come into a lot of the venues I work at, you know, because a lot of the bands sometimes bring their own engineer, and, you know, that's a very common thing.
Yeah.
And they bring their own console just so, you know, they don't have to start from scratch. They have a baseline of where to start. And I see this console a lot. And for sure it's for the features, but it's also because it's extremely mobile. You know, you don't have to pay overages or anything for the airlines. And
Oh, that's nice.
yeah, it's extremely, it's super solid. And aside from that, all the processing, you can get deep processing on this. So essentially, Allen and Heath offers upgrades in terms of like compressors, like different modeling of compressors, preamps and stuff like that, different graphic EQs. So it's like a paid thing. You know, you buy the license and you can install it in the
Very cool.
in the console there. Yeah.
When you go to like do a show or something like that, like Wicker Park Fest, you mentioned there's a lot of bands. It's not who you usually work with.
Correct.
How do you start setting up something like that?
Well, in terms of the live sound world, you would set up a festival patch, which is you already pre-name a certain amount of channels. So it's like kick in and out, snare top and bottom. You do 2 channels for bass, a bass mic, a bass DI. You do 4 channels of guitar, 4 to 5 vocals in the front. You set up channels for DIs and stuff like that. And me personally, I don't like starting from scratch. So I already have like preset EQs for specific instruments. So like, for example, my kick in has that curve, which looks wild, but for most modern music, you know, they want some attack, they want some bottom end. So so this is the kick in mic and kick out. So you take out some of the stuff you don't need, but you get, as you can see, there's a bump in about 55 hertz just to get some of that low end. But yeah, you just set that stuff up ahead of time, and whatever band needs specific things, you just make sure you're plugging them into the appropriate channels.
Yeah. I like to, like, even just like watching you go from one screen to the other, like it was quick, you know? So
exactly.
That's cool to see for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with quiet singers or loud singers, you have access to the preamp section. If you need to do any specific like routing, it's cycle through all your scenes. There's the effects page here. On the side here, you can see that I have mute groups. So what that is essentially is you group channels together that you want to mute.
Oh, can we get you on the mic real quick?
Sorry about that. Yeah, that you mute all at the same time there. The biggest thing, since I was using this for monitors, the biggest thing that I really, really liked about this console was this channel to all mix. So if you hold that down, if you select a channel, hold that down, you can send that specific channel to multiple mixes at the same time.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which makes your workflow a lot faster. So if a vocal needs to be sent to multiple monitors or multiple in-ear rigs, holding down that button is going to allow you to do that, versus on the right side here are all the mix outputs. So those can be configured to groups or auxiliary sends. And since this console was set up for as a monitor console, I set them up all to do auxiliary sends. So other consoles, what you would have to do is hit, like, say this is the first monitor mix, the second, which takes a lot longer. A lot longer. But with this, the channel to all mix, as you can see, all the auxiliary sends are there, and you can send them to multiple places at the same time.
That's cool.
Yeah, very, very, very cool. Very handy on this console.
And then, in terms of effects, what's it got going on for effects?
Well, basic reverbs. So you get reverbs, delays, you get chorusing, you get flanging, all that stuff. The deep processing allows you to get more. So there's like a really cool tap delay that you can get. In monitor mixes, you don't always use the effects, but some singers in inner mixes would want to hear like a reverb and stuff like that just to kind of get them in the mood, because there is this isolating phenomenon that happens when you put in some in-ears. Like, you just don't hear anything. At least with the reverb, they can kind of feel like they're in the environment as well.
Cool.
So yeah, basic reverbs and stuff like that. Yeah.
And how do you activate the effects on the board?
Oh, well, when you turn it on, it's already Alan, he's cool about pre-assigning things. So this console is very much a throw and go, meaning you can literally buy it in the box, take it to the gig, open it, and just start using it. A lot of consoles this price range and up are not. You have to like pre-program them to basically tell it what you need it to do. But this one, right off the bat, already had some really cool reverbs on deck. So hit the the effects button, and then it takes you to the effects page. There are 8 slots available, and the first 4 are already pre-populated when you turn on the console.
Okay.
So right away, there's like a plate reverb right there that you can utilize, but there's plenty more on there. If you hit the library tab, you get gated reverb. If you want to get some Phil Collins stuff, you get all that stuff. Dynamic EQs, which is really cool, which is unusual for a console within this price range. Dynamic EQs and multiband compression is something that you see in the higher end consoles. But because of the price range, people think, oh, this is not going to have this. No, but Allen Heath's really good about preparing you for the worst, basically.
Yeah. And the build quality looks really good too, just looking at it.
Oh yeah.
So you think the sweet spot, like for someone who may want the SQ-5, like you mentioned, like someone who like mixes for a band, it's portable, things like that. What about, is there any use like at the home studio for this, or at a recording studio for this?
Yes. So this allows you to do multi-track recording directly to a hard drive.
Oh, sick.
So there's a USB slot at the very top. You can hook up, 1 terabyte hard drive and multi-track straight to that.
Oh, cool.
At 96K.
Nice.
So, if you don't want to take your computer around anywhere, you can just take your hard drive and that. But there is a USB output on the back as well, so you can go straight to like Pro Tools or Logic or anything like that. Yeah. So very fitted for live sound and for home use as well. And actually at Wicker Park Fest, the band Super Drag wanted to record their set. So their engineer brought their laptop, we plugged it in, just allocated the I/O, and they were able to record the set too.
Very cool.
Yep.
Nice.
Very cool. I mean, any like last things anyone should know about the SQ-5 here? Anyone interested in it?
Well, the X32 and the M32 set the standard for low-cost consoles with pro features. Those came out around like 2010, 11, which was, having a digital console for the, prosumer was not a thing. PreSonus did it first with the Studio Live. The Behringer X32 came out, and it was like DCAs, you're getting graphic EQs, you're getting all this stuff at a very affordable price. So that set the standard for this. When the SQ-5 came out, it just upped the ante in terms of the quality. So those consoles, like the M32, X32, are clocked at 48K. This is clocked at 96, which does make a difference in terms of latency. Because if you want to route multiple channels to a group and then use external gear to process it, so you can do hardware inserts on like a 1176, like the actual unit, and bringing it back in does not introduce any sort of like comb filtering or anything like that, which some of the other consoles do as well. So yeah, if you're looking for something that's small format but with extremely pro features, this is the perfect console for you. And especially if you're a traveling engineer too, which is something that a lot of engineers are doing. There are a lot of them are touring, and if you want to take something with you to create a consistency for the artists that you're working with, then this is honestly the perfect console to take. Just because it's lightweight, pro features, 12 stereo mixes, so you can handle a lot of IEMs if needed. The effects are great. The parametric EQ is extremely responsive. The graphic EQ is extremely responsive. It's extremely fast. So if you're somebody that wants to work fast and get great sound, honestly, this is honestly the perfect console for you.
Very cool.
It sounds like this would be your go-to, or at least one of your go-tos.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, for sure. Me personally, I like traveling with a console or bringing my own stuff. And yeah, this is for sure a go-to. I've been an M32 user for years, and kind of going to this, M32s, I'm always going to love that thing. But going to this is just, you can't deny the quality that you get out of it, for sure. Yep.
Very cool. Well, yeah, man, that's awesome. I mean, do you know, I'm sure you do know, how much would something like this go for?
This one sells for $399.9.
Okay.
So about $4,000. But again, there's nothing within that price range that's going to give you kind of like something like this. Because then if you want something better, quote unquote better than this, you're talking double or triple the price. And the standard right now or these days is about 96. Something like $60,000 is going to clock at 192, and you're asking, what does that matter? And it is for that latency, because input processing, and then when you start adding things in the console, that's like Pro Tools.
Yeah.
Like you start adding plugins, which stuff like this can accommodate. If you get the Waves card, you can introduce Waves on this, and some consoles are better than others in terms of dealing with that sort of latency. So that's why those consoles are like buying a house. Yeah. Is because you can. It's extremely fast where you cannot hear that. So.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, man, I love hearing like your passion and knowledge behind all of it, because like you could tell you work it. You work it on the field. So yeah. Honestly, man, thank you. Thanks for running us through the SQ-5 here.
No, for sure.
And you can get the zZounds, guys.
Yes.
As always. And yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Appreciate having you. And we gotta get you back sometime.
Cool. My pleasure.
Thanks.
So did you guys know that Zounds has a blog? It's at blog.zounds.com, and we have a bunch of kind of featured things that we have on there: recording tips, gear, products we sell, interviews, things like that. But I know Miles, you're a big writer for the blog as well, right?
Yeah. I've been writing for the blog for about 4 years now.
Cool.
And I've written stuff about, songwriting and all the way up to like gear reviews and pedal reviews. So there's all types of reviews and content like that for a variety of different kinds of gear. Cool. So yeah, there's a lot of really great stuff on there.
For sure. Yeah. Luis, we were saying that we were trying to get you to write for the blog, but you're a man that wears many hats already. So, we understand.
But always this hat.
Always that hat.
Well, no, I like the blog. I read the blog a lot. So I remember your story about going on tour, and then a piece of gear kind of saved your tour. That was cool.
For sure.
And then like I'm into the production stuff, and there's stuff on there for like film scores and like music production at home with audio samples and stuff like that.
Sure.
So yeah, I'm an avid reader of the blog.
Yeah, it's great, guys. Please do check it out. There's a bunch of stuff on pretty much every topic you can think of. A bunch of our writers on marketing write for that. So yeah, a bunch of experts in those fields there. So please do check it out. It's at blog.zounds.com. All right, cool. Thanks, Paco, for coming in. That was a pretty sick interview. But yeah, what'd you guys think chatting with him?
With him, it's always the passion just comes through, so it's fun talking to him. Super knowledgeable, great to talk to.
Cool. Yeah, it was great to hear about his career path, how he just kind of worked up and, got to a point where, like I mentioned, he had the right place at the right time, getting the call to do the big gig with Hannibal Buress. Is like, as musicians, we kind of sit in our bedrooms doing our thing, hoping one day our favorite, musician may call us up to their band or whatever to do a gig last minute. So yeah, it was really cool to hear that story from him.
Awesome. Yeah, and the mixer seems pretty sick too. So He mentioned the Allen and Heath SQ-5 mixer, so please check that out on zZounds, guys. And is there anything else you guys wanted to add before we close it out here?
No, just thanks to Paco for coming on the show. And I'm glad you're good with the car accident and everything.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Thanks. And if anybody knows where an early 2000s silver Toyota is, then give me a call. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to GearWire. I am your host, Justin.
I'm Luis.
I'm Miles.
And we'll see you guys next time.
GearWire is produced by zZounds, the online music store that gets you gear fast, with free shipping on every order. Check out zZounds today to find the gear featured in this episode and more.